Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another segment of Coffee and Connections with the Chief. I'm Chief Dean Rondeau, the Wolfeboro Police Department. To my left is my able-bodied Executive Officer, Captain Mark Livy. And month of June, here it is. You know, it seemed like not too long ago I was looking out over my shoulder and there was 6 feet of snow on the ground and the lake was frozen. And now it's the beginning of summer, right? We just passed Memorial Day weekend. And interestingly enough, while I'm on this topic, even though we've had some warm days, and it was a long winter without a doubt, it was very cold. There's been some warm days. The water is still very cold, all right, and not just the ocean water, but the lake water is too. So listen, folks, just be careful. Hypothermia can set in very quickly. There is a thermocline in the lake. You get past that thermocline and the temperature of the water is going to drop dramatically. Hypothermia can be paralyzing if you're in the water, and it can sap the energy right out of you. So be very careful when you're swimming, and just pay attention to the weather, pay attention to the temperature of the lake. You don't want to get a cold water injury. You could cramp up, you could drown very easily. So just be careful when you're in and around the water. So yes, even though it's June and the temperatures seem to be warming up and may even get into the 90s, that lake water still may be somewhere in the 50s. So just be careful where you're at, okay? So enough said about that. So the month of June is actually very busy, right? So we have a lot of exciting things occurring. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Public Safety Building charrette meeting, which is occurring on the 9th of June, and it's going to be at 1900 hours at 7 p.m. In the Great Hall. We're going to have all the various options of the public safety building, or I should say buildings, right? So this is police and fire. We're separating, right? Police and fire. We have all the different options, and we want to hear from the public, right? We want to hear from you. We were able to pass the construction grade drawings, and we want to move on to the next step, but we want to make sure we get the location right. So this is where we want to hear from our partners, right? We want to hear from our citizens on where you think the best location for the Wolfeboro Police Department is. There's probably going to be about a half a dozen or so locations that are being proposed. We want to hear from you, all right? We understood from the vote last year that there were some concerns about the North Main Street site. We understand that. We're not dumb. We get it. We got it. So let us know what your thoughts are. I want you to come to this meeting and be prepared to offer constructive recommendations on where you think the public safety building ought to go. We're talking about specifically the police department, and we want to know what option you think is the best. All right, because we want to serve you, we want to serve the community, and we want to do it in the best possible way. And yes, we want your advice. We're definitely in need of a new police station. The one we have is, we've been in that building for the last 50 years and we've simply outgrown it, right? Policing science has changed so much from 1972, and a lot of things that we can't take advantage of, a lot of the things that came down from the criminal justice reform measures at both the state level and the federal level, we can't take advantage of because the building is holding us back, right? I want to move forward with state accreditation. We're not really sure what that is going to look like, but I'll tell you right now, if we looked at the national model, which is CALIA, that's the professional standards model that agencies try to get to, we could not do it. And we couldn't do it because we don't want to do it. We couldn't do it because the building holds us back, right? So these are fundamental things that we need to do, that I want to take the police department, the captain wants to take the police department to the next level. This would be it. So please come to this 9 June charrette meeting from 7 p.m. until complete, and make your best recommendations. So that's exciting. 10 June. The senior class of Kingswood is graduating. That's exciting, and I believe that's going to kick off at 7 p.m. again, 1900 hours. That's exciting, and if I remember what it was like when I graduated high school, it was a really joyous occasion. So real quick, 7 p.m. What does that mean? That means probably if you're trying to get out of town through South Wolfeboro, you want to do it before 6 p.m. because that's going to be very busy. That area holds literally thousands of people, and everybody's going to be going in to watch their son, daughter, nephew, niece, whatever, graduate from Kingswood Regional High School. There's going to be a lot of people there, right? A lot of friends and family going there. So traffic in both directions is going to be fouled up, okay? So why am I telling you this? Leave early. Or go south via a different route, maybe Route 16, okay, and avoid the area by Kingswood because it's going to be packed, all right? It's supposed to be beautiful, beautiful weather, and it's going to just be very busy. So, Father's Day weekend, the 18th and 19th, woohoo! So for all you fathers out there, hey, congratulations. Don't miss that important weekend, and like everything else, that is the end, Captain, of Motorcycle Week.
I believe it is. Yeah.
So we got Motorcycle Week coming up, preceding that by 7 days or so. So pay attention. Motorcycles will be everywhere, right? You know that old adage. So keep your eyes open for motorcycles. It is Motorcycle Week. So moving on throughout the month of June and going into July, of course, we have the 4th of July celebration activities here in Wolfeboro, right? We have the parade, I'll talk about here in a moment, and then we have the fireworks starting at about 8 o'clock or so at dusk, 9 o'clock in that neighborhood. So let's talk about the 4th of July parade, okay? The 4th of July, let me give you a little hint here. The 4th of July in Wolfeboro is always on, yes, you guessed it, the 4th of July. I can't begin to tell you how many phone calls we get at the Wolfeboro PD asking when the 4th of July is. It's always on the 4th, right? That's a hint. All levity aside, the activities are always on the 4th. That's number one, okay? Number two, a couple of years back, we began we started a traffic ban along the entire parade route, which is really going from Old Lakeview Road, or really, if you will, Forest Road, all the way through the end of Brewster Academy, right, to the end of 80 Academy Drive, okay, off of South Main Street. That entire route is going to be banned from parking, okay? So the reason we do that is for safety, for line of sight, so the parade participants driving the big floats and all the antique military equipment that are in the parade can see, and people can spread out. Remember, we're still dealing with, the after effects of COVID-19 and flus and colds. We want people to spread out. We don't want people to be crowded, okay? We want people to be spread out. So we remove the cars from the downtown area, safety reasons, and people can see. You're less crowded. You're not having to sit on other people's automobiles or scratch and bang them up or whatever the case may be. You get those cars out of there, and now we got the entire route is clear. So there will be a ban from traffic from 9 until noon. Now, what does that really mean? Look, folks, okay, it's a holiday, right? It's a day off. It's the 4th of July. So people are going to start gathering very early in the morning for this. Some people are showing up at 6 and 7 a.m. to get their seats by the side of the road, okay? If you want to go down to Black's or you want to go downtown to get a cup of coffee and you think you're going to be able to do that at 8 o'clock in the morning, think again. It's Wolfeboro on the 4th of July, and you're not going to be able to get downtown. The roads are going to be congested with literally thousands of people. We're going to shut the roads down not later than 9 a.m., all right? And you're not going to be able to go to Black's or anywhere else because there's going to be a 5-mile-long parade in front of you, okay? So remember, this is Wolfeboro on the 4th of July. I can't begin to tell you how many times I'm up there with my officers blocking the road, and some Wolfeboro resident who's been here for the last 60 years wants to go to Black's to get the newspaper or get a cup of coffee downtown, and it's the 4th of July in Wolfeboro. The only time I think this has ever been postponed is during the COVID pandemic. I don't remember another time in the history of Wolfeboro that the parade has ever been postponed. So you're not going to get downtown. So please help me out. Get the word out. Tell your folks. Tell your friends. Plan ahead. And right after the parade, no, the roads aren't going to magically open up. It's going to take us a good hour, maybe 2, to get those roads clear. Because now we've got 10,000 people in the center of town that either want to go north, south, east, or west. All right, so it's going to take a while. So plan on not going downtown probably until about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Right, that's a safe bet. All right. So beyond that, again, Wolfeboro on the 4th of July. Make plans. If you need something ahead of time, get it ahead of time. Don't wait until 8:30 on the 4th of July to run down and get some newspapers or coffee or pancake mix from your favorite store, because you're just not going to be able to.
And just remember, as we're going to be closing the road, it's going to be the road closure. The parking ban's at 7. So if you have to go downtown, go get a cup of coffee, you can do that. Just get your cup of coffee and get out. Just remember that we're going to have officers going up and down the street telling you that anyways. But at 9 o'clock, the roads are shut down. From Forest Road all the way up at the intersection here on Center Street until it really the parade starts moving on, and then it's all the way to Crescent Ave. And then everybody will be going down Crescent Street to Pine Street. So remember that. The road will be closed at 9 o'clock, and there will be no one who can travel on that road of the parade route. So just remember that. Forest Road, Center Street, intersection here with South Main, North Main, Center Street. 9 o'clock. I can't emphasize that enough. Because all of a sudden they'll come to me because I'm at Forest Road because I'm at the end of the parade, and I'm putting people down to Forest Street and turning people around, and they're yelling at me. We do this every year. Yeah. This isn't a mystery. Yeah, same time every year. We're blocking the road. Nobody's getting by with a car. So just remember that. So if you have to get down there, at least go the back way. Go down Wombat. Go down 109A. Come in through Bay Street. Come in through, you really can't get through Mill Street, but go around, come down into Lena Street in the back way if you want to get close to the downtown. Because you are not going the parade route. It is closed at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, and think of it like this. Even if it wasn't closed, even if the police officer magically let you through, you're going to get through 5 miles of parade floats and marchers and everything else. I mean, come on. So this is the same plan. It's been every year. I've been here almost 26 years now. It's been like this for 26 years. All right. So there's no mystery. All right. So plan ahead. I guarantee every year somebody will say, well, I always go downtown to Blacks to get my newspaper. Well, not today. It's Wolfeboro on the 4th of July. So just plan ahead. All right. And enough said about that. That really takes us until the end of July. So the 4th of July kind of has always been where summer really kicks off, and it should be a wonderful summer. Though we have a couple of openings in the Wolfeboro Police Department, the captain is going to speak to this here in a moment. Those, we've already got candidates that have been hired, and we'll be getting pretty near to full strength by that point in time. So we're expecting a great summer. I do want to talk about the gasoline situation, which is kind of turning into a gasoline crisis. So just let me talk a little bit about the budgeting. So when we budget for the forthcoming year, we actually begin right after the 4th of July. Our budget process begins. Our budget process will start probably in earnest in about another 5 weeks, right? Just shortly after the 4th of July, we'll start doing the research and preparing for our budget submissions. It really does take that long to get our budgets put together, and the Wolfeboro Police Department is a fairly big animal. So this requires us to be somewhat prophetic and to make some forecasts on things, and one of those things, of course, is gas. Now, we know exactly how much gas that we burn. We have pretty good, regression analysis models, and we have pretty good 5-year averages. The pandemic, of course, these 3 years, if you will, of the pandemic have kind of goofed us up a little. So we treat those as anomalies, as anomalous years. But in any event, the data is actually pretty sound and pretty solid. However, gasoline is set by the town. That's a town rate, and all the departments follow what the town puts out for guidance. So, needless to say, what was put out last year in September timeframe or so is now very old data, and it's very obsolete. And gas is well above what was budgeted for back in September of 2021. That's just a fact. That's just a reality that every municipality in this country is facing similar problems. All right. So what does this mean? All right. So back in February, the captain and I took a very close look at our budget. With the thought in mind that gas was going to continue to increase. We haven't been disappointed in that forecast. We were absolutely spot on. It looks as though gas is essentially doubled from what we originally anticipated. So you can imagine that even though our fuel consumption, we put a 5-tier plan in effect, with tier 0 being what I call steady state operations. That's as operating as if everything is normal, and with tier 4 being the most restrictive tier that we have. So yes, we're in tier 1 of that 5-step plan, and so we have been successful in reducing our gasoline consumption, but it hasn't come without some impact to patrol. And I just want to let you know that the Wolfeboro Police Department is deeply committed to the community and providing the best community policing services that we possibly can. So we're choosing very strategically how we deploy assets and resources. It's unfortunate that we have to do this and we have to take these measures, but hear it from me, we are dedicated to providing the very best public safety policing services that we can possibly provide, and we take this job very seriously. And though I also have a duty and responsibility to staying true to the budget. No further money is coming in. This is why the captain and I get paid, if you will, the big bucks to face these problems and come up with solutions. The good news is that our gasoline constriction plan is working. I will reduce or lessen some of those restrictions as we move a little bit further into the summer, and I can get to see how we've benefited from our very early on gasoline constriction plan. So again, remember, we started doing this in late February, and we're starting to see some benefits. So if you've seen what you believe to be a lack of police presence in some of the neighborhoods, well, yep, that's probably true, and there's a reason for that, okay? And it was by design, and we have to stay, I have to stay within the budgetary guidelines that I'm giving, right? I have the left and right limits of my budget, and I need to stay within those left and right limits. So that is really what's going on. If you have any further questions or concerns about this, you can always call me at the Wolfeboro Police Department, 603-569-8172, and I can explain further what we're doing and how we're being successful. So moving forward with that, I think we've probably beat that horse into the ground. Hopefully, if the forecasts hold true, we should start to see some relief very, very late in 2022, maybe by November, December timeframe. Really not soon enough for us to take advantage of. So unfortunately, though that will be a command decision that I make as to whether we loosen those gasoline restrictions that I've placed on my patrol division, or if I even strengthen them, because I just have to wait and see which way gas is going to go. July is going to be a very telling month for us in the Wolfeboro PD in terms of what we do. That remains to be seen, but if we do, it's because we took, if we do lessen the restrictions on the patrol force, it's because we're taking advantage of what we did back in February, late February, early March. All right. So having said that, now I'm going to turn it over to the captain for an operational update. Captain.
Thanks, Chief. So to get into what he mentioned about our hiring process here, we were down 2 officers. 2 of them left, Officer Oswald and Officer Church. They've left for different departments, and we wish them well. And we've had 2 openings in the meantime, and the commissioners have given 2 conditional offers to 2 individuals at this time, and we're going through the background right now with them. So what does that mean? Well, as we've mentioned many times before in this process, excuse me, I got allergies and stuff like that, so if I feel like I got coughing or something like that,
welcome summer.
Yeah, it's wonderful. But the process does take a little time to develop, because one of the officers is brand new, has never been in this field, this career, so he will have to go to the academy, and that's a 16-week process. We're hoping to get him in the August 1st academy. Paperwork deadline is July 5th. We're working very hard to get that done, to get him into there. We're hoping to get him on prior to it so he can drive around with our officers to get a understanding of our field and the verbiage and the RSAs and what a theft is. And so when he gets to the academy, he has a better understanding when he sees these words and definitions and RSAs, and he can be out in a road and put something together, basically an incident, put it together with an RSA and get a better understanding of what it is from our officers, from teaching him. So then they go to the academy. It's 16 weeks, like I said, not straight 16 weeks. There might be some holidays, so it could be a little bit longer depending on when it actually starts and ends. But they're in the academy. They're not out on the road or anything like that. And then they get out. They have 8 to 12 weeks of field training, which they're out with an officer, sitting in a 2-man car, and they're driving around and learning the career, basically taking calls, as many calls as they can, stopping vehicles, and getting better at their job so they can be by themselves. That's the goal. We want them to push them along so they can be by themselves and understand and do everything alone, because that's what we do. There's a lot of it. I mean, look at our midnight shift. You're by yourself. There isn't many people around. Even surrounding towns from Wolfeboro, there's only a limited backup. State police is out. They're not out. They're down. If you haven't seen it on WMUR, they're down 60 to 70 officers. So right now, Troop E is shut down at the midnight shift. So you have the Sheriff's Department that's, excuse me, that is out until 11 o'clock. Yeah, 11 o'clock p.m. and then they're in. So it's yeah, we are it.
Yeah, the other departments may be hit or miss, but we're basically it.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that individual is ready to go out by themselves, and especially because midnight's coming. It's a rotating shifts that they do, and eventually they're going to get to the midnight shift and be alone. That's just how it is with us, and that's how it's always been for right now. We're working on that, trying to fix that problem. We would love to have 2 officers on the midnight shift. Yes, it's not the busiest time, but it's the most dangerous time. The calls that come in are not your paperwork and VIN checks at 3 o'clock in the morning. So unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way. So, yep, we're in the process of that. We have another officer that's going to go, hopefully be hired at the end of August, so at the end of the summertime. And then they'll be with us from that point on, and we'll go through the process as the other one is same thing, 16 weeks of the academy. So this summer is going to be busy. If you haven't been out, I was out on Memorial Day weekend, and I was actually out on a boat, and it was busy. The docks were busy. The downtown was busy. I'm thinking this summer is going to be very busy based on our COVID past years, everyone wants to get out. Everyone's going to be here. This is what Wolfeboro brings, and this is what Wolfeboro wants. They want the people, they want the tourists, they want them in town, and they're coming. They're coming this year, and it's going to be very busy.
One of the things we've been noticing for the last 3 years, both the captain and I and our other officers, is that because of COVID-19, starting in late 2019 and continuing on until now, a lot of people that had either second or third homes up in this area, or who had the financial wherewithal to be able to leave New York City or Boston or the big population densities and come up here or to the area, have done so. With the advent of the internet and Wi-Fi technology and software platforms like GoToMeeting or Zoom, they've had the ability now to do their work from home, attend conferences via Zoom, via GoToMeeting, and so we've seen that transition, we've seen that trend. So people are now able to work from where they really want to live. And let's face it, who wouldn't want to live here, right? Who would not want to live here? And maybe attend a corporate board meeting once a month or once a quarter in Philadelphia or Baltimore or Boston or New York City, what have you. So we see it all the time. We if you pay attention to the license plates, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, you see the number of people from outside the state of New Hampshire, outside the state of or the city of Wolfeboro, town of Wolfeboro, and that's just common. And we see it in the traffic densities. We see it in the population density here. We see it because we pay attention to it. That's what we do. So yes, I truly believe that the population of Wolfeboro has grown a little bit beyond our 2020 census, which it was up by about 400 residents. So the Wolfeboro is not shrinking, it's growing. And then the other thing, if you look down the road and you look at some of these major developments that are going in or proposed, we could be looking at adding, upwards of another 1,000 residents permanently within the next 3 years. Right, so these are the things that we pay attention to. These are the things that we look long term toward. And I would recommend that if you're watching the show, you look forward to it as well, and you have discussions with your elected officials about what services you think need to be increased as a result of that population influx. And that's really all I'm going to say to that. But I share the captain's desires as well to add a second midnight officer. We're getting to that point where I think we just need 2 police officers patrolling and provide mutual support to one another.
Yeah, thanks, Chief. So with the operation and this summer, we, as the Chief said, we've sat down, we keep sitting down every week. I keep sitting down with my operational sergeant. We keep going over things. He just got out the radar signs, which are huge for us because they give us a lot of data. We were able to put officers at certain times, be more efficient, use the officers wisely because, the call volume, we are back to pre-pandemic calls volume and actually a little ahead of what 2019, 2018 brought. And we're in 2022. So the calls are coming up, the reports are coming up, the incidents are coming up, the investigations are coming up. So, and what did we do? We just hired another part-timer and brought on, they gave the conditional offer and the background went through and everything, to Christopher Warren. Now he's got 39 years of experience in law enforcement. So he brings a lot of experience and background to our young officers within our patrol and helps our supervisors too because, he's very well-rounded. He has a lot of classes in his background, crash investigation, motorcycle investigation, background investigation, and he was a prosecutor school and he was a chief of police. So he's going to...
He's a great asset,
yeah.
Without a doubt. He is a great asset.
So he's going to help us with investigations for patrol so they can stay on the road. He's actually going to go on the road and patrol too, but he's going to be very well used within our department to help us through the summer months, especially the summer months, as we continue through here. So that's a great addition to our department. Maybe we can get him here so you guys can meet him, see him, and he can talk to you through that.
He's also an adjunct. He's also an adjunct instructor, professor at the Plymouth State University in the criminal justice program. So I'm really excited about having a guy who's got a lot of energy. Certainly has a lot of experience. He's well-rounded. Has quite the curriculum vitae, academically well qualified, is a retired chief of police, so he understands things like budgeting. And when we have a young patrol division, which we do, you got to balance that with some guys that are a little long in the tooth, right? And you got to balance that out. And so having said that, that's the purpose behind that. So we're really excited to have retired Chief Christopher Warren on board with the Wolfeboro Police Department.
Yeah, so with the speed and radar signs, if you have any complaints or want a placement for that goes to Sergeant Bulio. He takes care of all the radar trailers. If you have speed complaints, same person. It will go to the operational sergeant, which is Sergeant Bulio. So you can use our Facebook Messenger, email us, email him directly if you need it, or just call the PD, and we'll eventually get to him and get placements out to the areas that are needed. Because it helps, you guys are helping us get our officers out at a certain time efficiently, because we put that radar trailer out there, we take that data, and we see what the best times to put an officer out there. Instead of just putting somebody out there from 9 to 5 and picking a time, and we have no idea when cars are going through or speed or what the dangerous areas are. You guys help us. That helps us tremendously to get through the summer months, especially with a lot more traffic that's going to be coming in. I mean, there's going to be a lot of traffic, so remember that. So, I mean, we saw it, I think I saw it last Friday. It was already backed up to Huggins Hospital coming in. So,
and boy, did we hear about it on Facebook.
Yeah. So it's here, it's coming. And I think this summer is going to be very busy. So with dispatch, we're full staff in there. They're taking their calls. We're about to possibly give 2 conditional officers to part-time dispatchers to help us. And they'll be with us throughout the summer and beyond that. I think everybody's going through this with every organization, and even restaurants and all that. Everyone's trying to hire. So whatever you can get out there that will work and benefit the department, that's what we're trying to do. Trying to make it more efficient, easier, and help everybody that's working with each other for the outcome of the goals, basically. So other than that, the highway safety grants. So we've done one of them, the chief and I. We did the click it and ticket, and we heard that on Facebook too, that we were up at the school harassing the kids. That's not what we were doing. What we do is, so basically this is join the click it or ticket, and it's a grant that comes out from the highway safety, from the federal grant, because the state of New Hampshire, under 18, you have to have seatbelts. So where do you got to go in the mornings where kids are driving is the high school, McManus Road. That's why we were up there. That's why we're checking.
Keeping kids safe.
Keeping kids safe.
Keeping kids safe. That's what it all boils down to, folks.
And making sure they're wearing their seatbelts, because they're required by law to wear a seatbelt.
We caught quite a few not wearing their seatbelts. So it becomes educational. They didn't get a ticket. We didn't give any youth operators a ticket for not wearing their seatbelts, right? That's not what it's about. It's about education, which is predominantly, and if you come to a police commission meeting, and I brief the statistics, well over 90% of our motor vehicle stops are educational in nature, right? And not punitive, right? And those statistics are briefed every month.
Yeah, so our next one is going to be, we're going to have a speed grants out there, DWI grants that are going to be out there, and they're geared to those for speed, but they still got your cell phone use. We see your head go down. Yeah, inspections, all the pedestrian crosswalk will be downtown for the 2-hour parking. We'll have somebody on the bike during this grant too, so they can do Bridge Falls Path. And Bridge Falls Path, make sure when you're on Bridge Falls Path, you read the signs. What is allowed on the Bridge Falls Path and what is not allowed on the Bridge Falls Path. And remember, if there's stop signs on the Bridge Falls Path, you need to follow them. if you're on a bike, or you got to stop. You can't just keep on going and hope for the best. It's the same thing driving on the roadway. If there's a stop sign, you need to stop. Follow the signs, follow the path, follow the rules, look at the posted signs.
Are there for your safety.
Yeah. So read the signs, what is allowed and what is not allowed. We will be out on the Bridge Falls path this summer, here and there on certain days, the best we can, and we'll be enforcing the laws out there. So be careful out there. Follow the rules. Look at the signs. See what's out there. Other than that, I think that's about it for operational, and I'll give it back to the chief.
So thank you very much. So if you've been a fan of Coffee and Connections with the Chief, you'll notice the months preceding this, I had a beard. Yes, I did. I had a beard. And I liked my beard. But I'm hearing from other people that they didn't like the beard. So here we go. We're going to take a poll, right? If you like the chief with the beard, then what I need you to do is email Tim Goodwin at Wolfeboro Community TV. He's going to be the non-biased collector of the data. And if you like the chief without a beard, email Tim and let him know that too. And whichever one wins, and I'll do whatever the public wants. They want me without a beard. They want me with a beard. So be it. So please, the unofficial poll, you like the chief with a beard, email Tim Goodwin at Wolfeboro Community TV. You don't like the chief with the beard and you like the clean-shaven look, email Tim at Wolfeboro Community TV and let us know, right? This is exactly what we want. We want feedback. So that concludes this session of Coffee and Connections with the Chief. I'm really glad you tuned in, you dialed in. Stay informed. Please come to the charrette on 9 June. I can't emphasize that enough. I want to hear from the public. I'll address your questions. You can ask questions. You can vote. You can have. This is a citizen input, right? This is where you get to really drastically influence what government is going to do, right? Because I'll tell you right now, if at all possible, you vote for a specific option. That's the road we're going down. Until we're told we can't. That's the road we're going down. So we want to hear from you, right? So it's easy, right? It's easy to sit back and complain when you don't have to do the heavy lifting, okay? So now I'm asking you to come and help me do some of the heavy lifting, pick an option, have input, influence your elected officials, influence your appointed officials, let them know what you want. I want to know. And you know what? If I wasn't interested, we wouldn't be making this available. All right, so yes, I'm interested. I want to hear from the public. Stay tuned for your safety tip of the month. And having said that, please, if you want to be on the show and you want to ask questions, please contact Tim Goodwin at Wolfeboro Community TV or contact the captain or I at the Wolfeboro PD and let us know you want to be on the station, and we'll get you on the show, right? Coffee's on me, as it always is. Thank you very much for dialing in, tuning in, and I will see you next month of July, for another segment of Coffee and Connections with the Chief. And as always, be safe. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another segment of Coffee and Connections with the Chief. I'm Chief Dean Rondo of the Wolfeboro Police Department, and this is your safety tip of the month. And as I said during my show earlier, we live sandwiched between Lake Winnipesaukee and Lake Wentworth, right? This is the Lakes region, and we're just coming out of the winter. Yes, summer is here, and we're glad, and there's been some warm temps, right? And there's been some really warm temps. In fact, we saw a couple of days that got into the 90s toward the end of May. But, folks, the water is still cold. This lake, in some locations, over 300 feet deep. It takes a lot of solar energy to really warm that water, okay? So even though the surface of the water, the first, a foot or two of water, the first couple of feet of water may be warm, that thermocline might be just hanging out down right around 2 feet or 3 feet. You penetrate that water could drop temperature very quickly into the low 50s, maybe even into the high 40s. Be careful, right? Cold water injuries are common. Hypothermia is common this time of year. you got to be really, really careful. The water still hasn't warmed up to what we're all used to. It will get there. It will, trust me, it'll get there. It'll get there pretty quickly. But in these first few weeks of June, I want you to be aware that the water is still cold. We've had some cool nights still, and with the wind blowing, a lot of that thermal energy just is blown right off the top of the water, and the water drops right back down. That thermocline comes right back up. Okay, so be careful out there on the lake. If you get a cold water injury out there, it could be paralyzing. It could be paralyzing. You cramp right up, and when you cramp, you can't swim, and that contributes to drowning very often. All right, so please be careful. If you're going out on the lake, you know, make sure you have what I call your 5-point contingency plan. You know, where am I going? Who am I going with? What time am I leaving? What time am I coming back? And what to do if I don't return, right? Your 5-point contingency plan, all right? So exercise that. Be safe, everybody. Be mindful of the cold water. And again, this is Chief Dean Rondeau of the Wolfeboro Police Department. And please join me next month, month of July, for another segment of Coffee and Connections with the Chief. And as always, be safe out there, everybody. And happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I want you to have a joyous Father's Day, and especially to the graduating class of Kingswood Regional High School. My hat goes off to you. Job well done. Thank you very much, and I'll see you at graduation.